Howdy doody, it's me Tifo Wellness and welcome to the first of this month's Korean toy reviews. Yes, got KTRT to review for you today. Yes, and we're back to Tobot V Season 3 figures. Last month I reviewed number 4 and number 5, Regent and Big Boss. But this month I've decided to go for the Wave 1 figures, so that's 1, 2 and 3. That's Tachyon, Wild Chief, and this guy, Jet Thunder. So he is going to be the subject of the first review this month, and it is Tobot V Season 3 Jet Thunder. But before we have a look at the bot, let's have a look at the box. So here is the box. Now it's quite a chunky one. It's quite thick, and obviously you can see it's got his 03 Tobot V Season 3 Jet Thunder on that side, and then on this side, you've got some artwork. It's got pretty pictures on the back, logo on the top, and all the super interesting product information on the bottom, which I won't go into. But if you go watch KR Brickbot's reviews, then he does all that. So just a little plug there for him. So yeah, like I said, it's quite a thick box. Because this guy's kind of chunky actually, especially when he's in robot mode. So what can we say about him? He's a jet. He's a military jet, not unlike the A10 tank buster, because he's got straight wings, sort of a blunt nose with a cockpit up front, cannon sticking out the nose, and he's got like these split tails at the back and some large engines towards the rear. So it's kind of like a futuristic, take on the A10 tank buster, or Warthog as it's sometimes known. Yeah. Now in plane mode, it looks pretty cool, and it's got quite an impressive wingspan, as you can see. And you go around, and it looks pretty cool. You look on top. You see, it's got sort of plane features. It's got wings. It's got side pods. It's got rocket boosters here, and then you've got jet engines here. It's got the tail. Not much in the way of robot kibble. I mean, he's got his arms sort of stuffed under the wings like side pods. I mean, let's face it, Power Glide, as we know, G1 Power Glide, they just stuffed his arms under the wings. Similar sort of thing, and he transforms into an A10 tank buster as well. So yeah, common trope for this kind of plane mode. Now, the plastic this thing's made of, it's made out of mostly this grey plastic, which, now, on Transformers when they mould stuff in that tacky, cheap grey plastic, and they don't look very good. This plastic's got a little bit of a hint of colour in it. It almost got almost like a yellow tint to it, but it still looks a bit, not great, let's put it that way. It still looks a bit tacky. It's got a decent amount of paint apps. It's got like the yellow paint apps around here. It's got paint apps on the wings, on these little side pod things. Different colours on the jet boosters and the engines, and some of it's plastic colours, and the others is actual paint apps. He's also got these sort of V logos on the wings and on the side of his cockpit as well. It's kind of like the American, sort of flag that they used to put on their planes, but it's got like a V symbol in the middle. Other details, like I said, it's got a cockpit which has got some glass in it, but there's no pilot in there. Panel lining on the side of the plane mode in certain places. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I will say though, compared to the pictures of the plane on the box, and you look at it in hand, and there's something about it, it just doesn't look quite right. I don't know whether it's the positioning of the wings or not, because they're a bit high up. I think they should be further down on the fuselage. It just doesn't look quite right. I don't know what it is. He has got landing gear of a sort. He's got these sort of round things underneath, and he's got like a moulded wheel at the front, but he's also got these pegs at the back. So when he's on a flat surface, he does sort of perch or sit on a flat surface like you know, landing gear. Even though they're not rolling wheels, they're just moulded round things that are simulating wheels. Now, being a Tobot, he has a tow key, and the tow key for this guy is mounted on the wing. Now, it's the only accessory he comes with. Well, actually, no, technically that's not wrong. He does have some other accessories in the back here, but we'll get to those in robot mode. So, the tow key, and there it is. It's got the number 03 on it. It's made out of metal, and it's kind of in the shape of an arrow, or, you know, like a futuristic jet, I suppose, but kind of like an arrow. And as he's a Tobot, you know, you can unlock the transformation by using the tow key. You know, there's this big slot in the top, and you can, you know, plug it in, and you press down, and he unlocks. Now, the thing is, though, the way this thing locks together, it has these sort of little clips on the top. It doesn't clip together very firmly. It's quite easy to just you know, separate it. It doesn't clip in very firmly. So there's not much point in having the tow key thing there, really. It's pretty much useless on this guy. And in plain road, you know, the wings are a bit wibbly on it, and you know, if you start, you know, rough handling it, it will start falling apart. Well, when I say falling apart, it'll start, you know, the mould will start, you know, sort of splitting up, and the joints for the robot mode will start unfolding themselves, and yeah, so that's something you've got to be aware of. He doesn't really hold together that well in plain mode, to be honest. He looks all right, but like I said, there's something about the plain mode that's, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it what it is. It just doesn't look quite right to me. But whatever. You know, he's a plane. He's a big plane because, like I said, he's got a fairly sizable wingspan. Some colours on him, some nice colours, but you know, it's mostly moulded in this somewhat bland grey plastic. But there we go. There is Jet Thunder's plane mode. It's a thing. He transforms into this plane, and it's not too bad. Now, I will say at this point, I was very much on the fence about getting this guy initially. I was a bit sort of a bit on the fence about getting him, but then I watched a couple of episodes of the show, and when I saw his character and I saw his face sculpt in the show and on the robot mode, I thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to go for him. But in order to get to that, we need to, you know, transform this guy. So obviously, being a Tobot, you've got your tow key, you stick it in, it sort of separates that, and you can start transforming this guy. Now, he's got a fairly straightforward transformation. Now, you can sort of do that to start off with. So basically, you fold down the waist, and you know, you fold up the cockpit. Then you split the legs. You get these pieces. They fold up into the back of the legs, and that folds in. So that hinges up, and then that folds in. Then you've got these engine pieces. They fold round with 2 clicks. And then turn the waist round, and there you've got a Ger walking jet mode. So yeah, you can get a Ger walk mode out of this guy quite easily. I suppose you could, if you wanted to, you could pull the arms down, but you don't need to do that. But Ger walking jet mode, and also you can pull the wings forward to make it look a little bit more formidable, and you can also, you know, you can angle the wings to make it look a little bit more purposeful. So you know, you can get a Ger walk mode out of it quite easily. So let's carry on with the transformation. The arms, which are under the wings, well, obviously, you know, you can fold the wings up for now, and then the arms, they can fold out to the side, and then you just bring them down like that. And you can split the wings They split on the top and they fold down like that. So you split the wing and the lower wing goes down, the upper wing goes up. And then finally the cockpit. Right, or the head sculpt. You press down on the cockpit and his head will pop up. There we go. Now it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't click in so great sometimes. You go like that and then it sort of clicks into place. But the locking mechanism on the head isn't great. On mine, it sometimes it doesn't quite lock in, and the head sort of ducks down into the chest cavity to because it's on a mechanism that brings it up. But anyway, there we go. There is Jet Thunder in his robot mode. Obviously, you can put his key on his wing like that, but it has a place on the top of the wing. But as you've opened the wing out, it can now go on the inside of the wing. So there we go. There is Jet Thunder in his robot mode, and he looks pretty cool for the most part. He's pretty big. Let's get my usual size comparison. So there he is next to Combiner Wars Megatron, my usual sort of size comparison when doing these Korean toy reviews. He's a little bit shorter, but he's quite a bit wider, and he has got a significant amount of kibble. Obviously the wings are the most obvious thing on this guy, and this was part of the reason why I was a bit reluctant to buy this guy initially, because of the wings. Now the wings are on ratchets. They can, you could have them folded all the way down, you could have them folded all the way up. You've got options how you choose to have the wings. So you can even have them down or up. So there's a little bit of stuff there, a little bit of messing around you can do with this guy. Articulation isn't the greatest on this figure. I mean, obviously he's a typical Tobot. It is better than some other Tobot figures I've reviewed of late. I'm looking at you, Tobot V Season 2 Captain Jack, with his frozen shoulders, because this guy has got nice ratchety shoulders, which also have a joint there. So you've got a nice ratchety joint there, and it's got a joint there. So the shoulders nicely articulated. Now you could also, you can get his arm quite far up like that, but then you've got the arm itself, which has also got a joint there. So you've got that joint and then that joint. So he's got two joints on his shoulder. So you can, sort of mess around with those to your heart's content, and you can kind of gives you some different posing options with those joints. But obviously he hasn't got intermediate joints, like he's got no bicep swivel. He has got an elbow which goes to 90 degrees on two very coarse clicks. Again, he's got that, which is a little bit finer ratchet. But if you've got the wings there, it's limited to how far it will come out. The shoulder joint also is on this slider for transformation. So I suppose you could mess around with that a little bit if you really wanted to. Obviously the head has got a little bit of rock backwards and forwards, but no rotation, which is very disappointing. I mean, he's on like a forwards and backwards pivot as part of the transformation gimmick. But they could have put a ball joint in there and give him a head rotation. That would have been an easy peasy thing to do. But I do love the head sculpt on this guy. And he's got a beard, or he looks like he's got a beard, and he's wearing like aviator shades. And of course he's got this helmet over the top, and it just looks really cool. I like his head sculpt a lot. His head sculpt's really cool. Obviously he's got the nose cone of the jet as his chest. Articulation on the arms, like I said, that, and then you've got that joint as well, and a very crude elbow joint, but at least it goes 90 degrees. Now moving down, He has got a waist joint. Just move them out a bit. So he's got a waist joint, which is actually part of the transformation, but totally works as a waist joint. It's got a very soft sort of ratchet on it. Now he hasn't got an ab crunch, but he's got an ab stretch, because it doesn't go forwards, but it does go back for the transformation, like that. So you can, you can sort of arch backwards to look up, I suppose. That's just a thing. Again, it's a transformation joint. You might be able to use it for some posing, I suppose. And then getting down to the legs. This guy's got fairly typical Tobot legs. He's got super short thighs, massively long shins, kind of like the other Tobot V figures. Like Leo Kaiser, Captain Jack. They all have this problem. His hips, go over 180 degrees. Forwards and backwards reasonably well, but his knees, if you can see, they only go back, what is it, 1, 2, 3 clicks, and they barely go to 45 degrees. And if you look on the back of his legs, you can see like the joint is like it just boxed in. They could have put a cutout, a notch in there to give him more sort of knee motion, give him 90-degree knees, but they chose not to do that. And it's not like this is going to break up the mould of the jet mode because it's underneath. So anyway, so yeah, he's got kind of restricted knee joints, and he's got these odd proportion, well, these misproportioned legs with the short thighs and the very long shins, which is fairly typical of a Tobot. As for the feet, he hasn't really got feet as such. He's just got these boosters which form his feet. Has got the usual thing. He's got a slight angle cut on his feet to give him a neutral A stance on a flat surface, and that's about all you can say about the articulation on this guy. He does have one other trick up his sleeve. He's got weapon storage. Now this guy comes with 2 swords which are stored in the jet engines like holsters, so you can pull them out and they store in there like that in jet mode, but you pull them out and then you open them out, and then you've got 2 swords. So you pull the other one out, open it out, and then he's got 2 fairly impressive looking swords, which he can hold quite successfully. And there he's got now he's got 2 swords. Now, because of the joints on the shoulders, can kind of get him facing these swords, mess around with his swords facing inwards and stuff. But again, the elbows are so coarse. They've only got 2 notches. They do go backwards as well, so they've got notches go forwards and backwards. So yeah, he's a bit restricted in the articulation front, like most Tobot figures are. He's got these nice swords, which, like I said, they fold up and then they store away in his robot mode and or his jet mode quite successfully. So he's got weapon storage, so that's good. And yeah, that's pretty much all we can say about this guy. A bit of a mixed bag. It's got some things about him that are okay, that are decent, and other bits that aren't quite so good. He's a tad disappointing on the whole, but he's got a decent weight. He's a reasonable size. He's got the shoulder articulation's good on this guy, unlike another Tobot V figure I could name. It's just a shame that the legs let it down a little bit with the restricted knee action, and also hasn't got any thigh swivels, bicep swivels, that usual thing, and no head rotation as well, which is a shame, because I mean this guy could have really benefited from a head rotation, but he hasn't got one. So again, that's a typical thing with Tobot figures. So many Tobot figures I've got with frozen head joints. You know, it's just part of the course, and you just got to come to expect it. But there we go. There he is, Tobot V, Season 3, 03, Jet Thunder. He's alright, he's not bad. Transforms into a fairly large jet. Looks kind of interesting aesthetic in robot mode, but, you know, usual drawbacks being a Tobot figure, you know, lack of articulation and all that. So there he is, and he is the first of 3 Korean toy reviews you should be getting this month. I've got 2 of them in stock already. The third one, there's been a slight delay in getting it shipped, even though I bought it the same day as the other Korean figures that I bought, which arrived the other day. The seller, for some reason, sat on it and didn't ship it or dispatch it for 9 days after purchase. And G-Market, I can't contact the seller and say, you know, what's going on, and give them the hurry up. I couldn't do that because of the way G-Market works. You can't actually contact the seller directly and ask them, you know, why haven't you shipped my goods, you know. And I was beginning to think that it's going to get cancelled like they usually do. You know, certain Korean sellers, I've had this a couple of times now in recent times, where the Korean seller, as soon as they realise they got shipped to the UK, they go, oh, I ain't doing that, and they cancel the order, you know. But anyway, it should be on its way later this month, and that might be my 3rd unboxing video. We'll have to see what else I buy later on. So there we go, that's it. That's been my review of Tobot V Season 3 03 Jet Thunder. He's alright, I suppose, and I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye.